Spencer Pratt surges in LA and Graham Plattner surges in Maine. One has a Nazi tattoo, the other one doesn't. And yet one is being rallied around by Democrats. That's the guy with the Nazi tattoo. Go figure. Let's talk about it. It's Monday. Here we go.
Let's go.
Hope you had a great weekend. Things are looking a little tense with Iran right now. We'll talk about that as the show goes on today. But I don't want to begin by being tense because I had to go see The Devil Wears Prada 2 Saturday night because I'm a good husband. And I was tense enough. Thank God for smuggling in alcohol to a movie theater. Otherwise, I don't think I quite would have made it. It was, guys, trust me on this. You would do much better just buy your wife Purple State by Dana Perino and call it a day for Mother's Day than go see Devil Wears Prada Part 2. I'm just throwing it out there, trying to help, all right? Ladies, if you liked it, I don't know what to tell you. I guess that means you're a woman and I'm not. And that might be the test. That actually may be the test right there. Are you a woman? That way, see, they should have just asked that to Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Are you a woman? What is a woman? Well, if you like The Devil Wears Prada 2, you're probably a woman. So because I don't even think gay guys would like it. I don't think that's definitely not. I mean, it's bad. It's a bad movie. So definitely a man versus woman kind of a situation right there. And it's not even the girl power rah-rah thing because I could get around that. It's more of the boring, no plot kind of thing that really set me back a little bit. But you do what you got to do to be a good husband. All right. It's what you got to do. Now, speaking of women, their votes matter. And Spencer Pratt, who does not have a Nazi tattoo, and Graham Plattner, who does, two different coasts. Start with Spencer Pratt, shall we? He's not related to Chris Pratt as far as I know, but he's a reality TV star. And speaking of Chris Pratt, I'm going to be with Jack Carr Friday night. Jack Carr, of course, who did the Terminalist series. He's got a brand new book out. The Terminalist stars Chris Pratt. Jack Carr and I are going to be together in Long Branch, New Jersey, Friday night. If you'd like to get tickets, Jackson can come on the show a little bit later in the week. You can go to his website, official Jack Carr, and you can get tickets. His new book, The Fourth Option, is out. It is a different book from the James Reese universe, but it's really, really good. I'm about halfway through it. I'm loving it. So mark your calendar for Friday night, this coming Friday in Long Branch, New Jersey, if you'd like to see the man, the myth, the legend, me, and also Jack Carr. Spencer Pratt is killing it in this campaign. He really is. And one of the key issues is talking directly to moms. That's right. Talking to moms and talking to women about the issues that matter. And issues that matter to them concern things like playground safety. Not having to drive around and cover your kid's eyes up because two homeless people are doing the deed on the side of a street. Little things like that. I mean, call me crazy. As a dad, I don't want to see that either. I don't. Moms, talk about a message directly to them as they're cruising along the boulevard and they look over and they like, Johnny, Susie, cover your eyes because there are two drug addicts literally having sex in your schoolyard. That stuff's been happening in LA and it's never been addressed because Karen Bass, who's the current mayor, well, she's fine with all that stuff. You got to remember something. To the left, the unhoused, as they're called, which to me is not a kind way of saying homeless. I'd rather say homeless. Like if I'm shoeless, I can go get shoes. If I'm unshoed, I gotta even know what that means. But it's the politically correct way of saying you're homeless. Unhoused, which sounds very much like undead to me. So I don't like it. If I didn't have a house, I'd rather just like Zeoli, you're homeless. All right, I'll go get one. Not you're unhoused, like I'm unable to have a house. And speaking of that, there are all these new diseases apparently coming back to Los Angeles, and it's just the whole thing is gross. But this campaign is really good, and it's a model for what other Republicans should be thinking about heading into midterms this November. Because Spencer Pratt, much like Donald Trump, a reality TV star, he knows how to communicate, knows how to talk to people, and he's been making up these AI ads. A lot of them are fun. I don't know which ones are his and which ones other people are making, so I've got to be careful what I play on the show. But this one I definitely know is from him because it's just him talking, and it's good. He's also going after Gavin Newsom, who, by the way, was clearly taking a lot of his dyslexia medication. Now, I don't know what they give for dyslexia, but whatever it is, Gavin was taking, it seemed to be a lot of it the other day. and we'll have a clip of that for you. But as we begin, I want to remind you, hit the subscribe button, if you would, please, here on our YouTube show. It is Rich Zeoli Podcast and the Rich Zeoli Show. Please hit subscribe, and I'll be your best friend. Thank you so much. So Spencer Pratt running for mayor of LA. This is a good a primer for Republicans to think about what the message should be to suburban women as they head into midterms this fall. Cut 4.
As I've been campaigning, the thing that has impacted me the most is meeting hundreds and hundreds of moms. And they're the most activated people in Los Angeles right now. And you know why? Because they don't feel safe. Moms send me messages with stories and videos that are so disturbing. If I were to share them on my accounts, they'd get banned. Crazy drug addicts exposing themselves to their children, hardcore drug use, assaults. It's shocking what LA moms have to endure because of the reckless policies of Karen Bass and Nithya Raman, who really just don't care about their concerns. It's really shifted my vision in a very real way. I'm realizing that my true mission as mayor is to protect our moms. They need to feel safe. They're scared to just walk their baby stroller to the park and enjoy the weather. They're scared to grab their mobile order at Starbucks. They're on pins and needles sending their kids off to school. I'm sorry, but how have we accepted this? As a man, as a father, nothing is more important than the safety of my children and my wife. Women and children first. We have that maxim for a reason. It's true in an emergency, and it's true for this election. Women and children first. If I accomplish nothing else as mayor, it will be to make moms and their kids feel safe in the city of Los Angeles again.
It's a good message. It's a good message. And I know there's a lot of guys out there also talking to moms. That's not what he means. He means as a candidate talking to moms, okay? So get your mind out of the gutter. He's trying to appeal to women voters, which is smart. It really is. It's smart. Remember on Friday's show, I told you I have a friend. She typically does not vote Republican. She's not a big fan of Trump. But I listen to people who are of different political persuasions so that I can learn what people are thinking out there. She thinks that Spencer Pratt is running one of the absolute best campaigns she's ever seen. She keeps sending me more and more of his clips. And a lot of it is just because it's kind of that gonzo in your face kind of politics that works. It really does. And he's pointing out that Karen Bass is an elitist. He's pointing out that the other people on the city council are elites. And if you want to talk about the us versus them nature of politics, think of what the left does all the time. Jeff Bezos, who tonight's the Met Gala, and he'll be sipping champagne, and they kind of go after him a little bit in The Devil Wears Prada too. It's always us versus them with the left. Like Bernie Sanders was screaming about the oligarchy and Jeff Bezos and everything else. Well, us versus them works in politics. It does. People either vote for somebody or against somebody. That's how that works. If you vote, you're either voting for a candidate, meaning you're going to go out there and you're voting proactively for that candidate because you think that candidate's going to make a difference. It's going to be the best. It's going to be great. Or you're voting against somebody, in which case you've decided that candidate's the lesser of two evils, or the other candidate would just be that much worse. And so you're really casting a vote against candidate B versus for candidate A. And that's different than if you're wearing a MAGA hat. If you're wearing a MAGA hat and you're going to a Trump rally, you're voting for Trump. If you voted in the last election against Kamala Harris because you thought she was a drunken idiot, then it's still a vote for Trump, but it was a vote against Kamala Harris. That's how politics works. Politics works in that fashion. So the us versus them thing matters then too, because you say, we're in this together versus these elites who let LA burn, let these wildfires spread. You know, there's a guy who's about to be in court for setting the fires in LA, which is funny because everybody was told that the fires started because of climate change. They didn't. There was a guy who committed arson. That's why the fires spread. And Spencer Pratt is also out there saying that the reservoir, which has still not been filled, he's going to fill it. Karen Bass says it wouldn't have made a difference. Like stuff like that matters to voters. It really does. It matters to them specifically. And if you're going to do the whole us versus them thing, then make it about the elites who don't care about you because they're more concerned with being politically correct around unhoused drug users than they are about letting your kids have a safe playground. It's not that complicated. People want safe streets. I mean, Trump talked about this in the 2024 campaign. It's a strong message. People want safety, and they don't want their kids seeing homeless people have sex or unhoused people have sex. Excuse me. They don't want to see that. Like unhoused people, you know what I mean, is way worse than homeless people. So you got to, because of the political correct nature of the term. So you got to make sure that you say it the right way. He also talked about medieval diseases, which are coming back to Los Angeles, which is crazy. But then again, is it crazy when you've got homeless, unhoused people on the streets, when you've got junkies and drug addicts, and then you've got all these people crossing the border illegally, and the city doesn't prioritize helping these people because they believe it's some foundational human right to be able to live on the street and do drugs and have sex? Is it that much of a shock to think that we're seeing a resurgence of these diseases that we once thought were eradicated, or at least belonged to, I don't know, ships on, rats on cargo ships back in the day? Cut 10.
I'm bringing in the CDC. Los Angeles loved the white suits, and during COVID, they love CDC. I'm bringing in the CDC because you know how much typhoid and medieval diseases are in these encampments that nobody's swabbing? Mayor Pratt is bringing the CDC in. We're going to swab all of them. And once we get those test results back, I promise you, the federal government will be shutting down streets with white tents and hosing things down with chlorine, God knows what, because people are living in the sewers.
Ew, gross, typhoid, gross, not good. And that's why people want to see change. I think he's going to do very, very well in this election. I can't predict if he's going to win. It's still a Democrat city. It's a crapshoot. But I do think from a campaign perspective, he's doing really good. Now there is a clip that I can't play it, but just know this: he is also pledging to go after Gavin Newsom. He's going to go after Gavin Newsom and expose Gavin Newsom, which is good because Gavin Newsom is going to run for president in 2028. In my mind, we are almost to the point where we're going to be focusing on 2028, which is crazy. But life comes at you at 100 miles an hour. You know this. I mean, if you have kids, the thing that people always say when you have kids is it goes by so fast. That's a lie. It doesn't. Every day feels like forever. The days go by long, but the years go by fast. That's the secret. So if you're an expectant parent, or if you have kids, you just like little ones, and you're going like, they said this was going to fly by, and it seems as if the last time I slept was 3 months ago. It's because the days are long, the years fly by. That's kind of like how life is. And it seems as if every day, when it comes to politics anyway, it's very long. But then you wake up one day and you realize, holy cow, there's the winner of the 2028 presidential election. It just flew by. What happened? That's because politics never stops and it comes at you 100 miles an hour. And if tomorrow the election for the Democrat nominee for president were held and you were going to put money on it, I would bet you it would probably be Gavin Newsom at this point. Well, Spencer Pratt said that he is going to look into Gavin Newsom. He's going to expose Gavin Newsom for everybody to see. Good. Excellent. Gavin Newsom is doing a great job himself of exposing himself. And he was on with Bill Maher, and Bill Maher went after him about, well, a lot of different things. I mean, really just the fact that California is, it's a money pit. And the train to nowhere, which we've talked about, which I said last week, you got a better chance of seeing the Polar Express than you do of seeing this high-speed express, because this thing's never going to get built. The price tag right now is at $231 billion with a B, and they have not built any of it. I mean, they've maybe laid some tracks, but really those tracks were there for cargo trains. When Gavin Newsom gets pushed into a corner, all Gavin Newsom does is respond with California's fourth largest economy in the world, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't know how to answer questions. He's really not as good as people think he is, but as of right now, I would say he's probably the front runner. So here's from Real Time with Bill Maher, cut 12.
The other side, what they're going to say, though, is, but have you seen the stats from California?
Good.
What? Well,
fourth largest economy. Let's go.
Well, are they going to say good about gas prices? Are they going to say good about how high the rents are? Yeah. So many people live. I mean, there's a whole litany. I mean, the train, Gavin. Okay, the train. You got to get rid of the train.
The train.
I say this as a friend. You got to let that train go. You got to let the train go. It's up to $231 billion.
No, it's not. That's just nonsense. It's not. We're doing a $119 million segment. We got it back on track. It goes back 3 administrations. I inherited a mess. We put it back on track. All All the environmental work is behind us. We're actually laying the track. All the legal litigation, all the land issues are all behind us. We're actually making this project work. And so that's a fact. Now, on the issue of California,
well, it's been a long time coming.
of course it has. And you can't make up for the past. I can only make up for my segment, literally and figuratively, as governor over the last 7 years. But look, you talk about California, we're the envy of the world. Since I've been governor, no other developed nation has outperformed our economy. No other state has outperformed the economy of state of California.
I think people feel that
They may not feel that in every way, shape, or form, but we dominate in every key industry. We dominate in manufacturing, agriculture, hunting jobs, forestry jobs, more scientists, more Nobel laureates, more researchers, more the higher system of higher education, the finest in the world, more venture capital. You talk about the future, you're talking about California and AI and quantum, on fusion, on space. California is dominant. We also have seen the last 3 years population growth. We've got to update our talking points. We've seen a 9% decline in unsheltered homelessness. We've got to update our talking points. We've seen
Unhoused.
a 60% increase in permits for housing. We've got to update talking points. I'm very proud of the state of California.
Okay. Now that's a nice commercial that Bill Maher let him give, but let's unpack that, shall we? That's talking points. Those are talking points. A lot of talking points that they're working on. But do you notice what's interesting about that? All these industries and all these sectors that he keeps talking about have nothing to do with him. Nothing. They're people who are staying in spite of the fact that California is so expensive and ridiculously the highest cost of living per capita in the country. But did you notice something else about that clip? He's on defense. The biggest problem with making Gavin Newsom the nominee is that he immediately goes on defense. He's got to defend his record. And he's not always going to get a receptive audience like Bill Maher, letting him just tee off for 2 minutes about how great his state is. Bill Maher likes him. They're genuinely friends. But that's not what it's going to be in the Democrat primary for president. And it's certainly not what it's going to be in the Republican primary for president. Like, if you think about it, let's say it's 2028 and it winds up being Ron DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom. And you actually have that debate over whose state is better. And you don't just let Gavin Newsom go on for 2 minutes spewing his bullshit about this is great and that's great and this is wonderful and everything's perfect and everybody's happy and people are dancing in the streets and you actually have to address the fact that people in LA still don't have their homes rebuilt and the crime and the homelessness and the drug addicts and the industries that are moving out of California to places like Florida and the exodus of people that have left the state. You actually debate that on a side-by-side comparison. There's no contest there. And there's no way that if you have a governor running, it's not going to be all about his record. So instead of them being on offense, they're going to be on defense with Gavin Newsom if he becomes the Democrat nominee for president of the United States. That's what Democrats are most worried about. That's why Barack Obama came out recently and essentially shivved the guy in the back because he doesn't want Newsom to be the nominee because he knows California is a mess. You could sit there and spew that BS. I mean, you could spew that BS and go on about how great your state is. And if you've got a friend and you've got a receptive audience like you do in a show filmed in LA and real time with Bill Maher and you got your buddy there and yeah, great. And no one's there to challenge you and no one's there to interrupt you. Fine. But that's not reality. And that's not the political reality he's going to face. Spencer Pratt is addressing the reality of California in a big way. And when you see the pictures of it and you look at it, and then you find out that companies are leaving because they're about to do a billionaire's tax, and a lot of those AI companies left California. Spencer Pratt said, we're going to bring Hollywood back because they don't make movies in California anymore. I mean, on and on and on the litany goes of the disaster this guy's brought to his state. Now, the other guy who may become the Democrat nominee is Pete Buttigieg, Little Pete. Spirit Airlines, as you know, is done. It's over. About a year ago, I had on my show Robert Bork Jr. He is a guy who's a big guy who fights the antitrust nonsense that the Democrats go after. The Democrats hate mergers. They do. They hate these mergers. So Spirit and JetBlue were going to merge. And they said they had to do this to save the airline. They couldn't exist without it. Airlines are tough industries to run right now. Airline fares are about to get a whole lot more expensive because now you've just lost another budget airline. And so they wanted to merge. I remember this because I had Robert Bork Jr. on the show, and we were talking about the fact that it was Elizabeth Warren, America's mother-in-law, Pete Buttigieg, and a bunch of other people who were fighting this just because they hate the idea of one company joining with another company, because then they say, a monopoly, and they'll be more powerful and they'll make more money. So they fight it. And at the time, it was the Democrats in power, so they were able to stop the merger of Spirit Airlines and JetBlue. There's no Spirit Airlines today because they fought it and they stopped it and they were successful. Does anybody benefit from that? No, of course not. You've got one less airline to choose from right now. You've got a whole bunch of travelers out there who had plans that can't go on their vacations right now, and a whole bunch of people who've lost their jobs because of this. Was Spirit a great airline? No, it wasn't at all. Was it run properly? No. That's why the merger would have been really good. But their whole thing, Elizabeth Warren and these others, was to stop mergers. Why? Honestly, just purely philosophy. Purely philosophy. You just stop the trust. It's the antitrust. It's the trust busting. It goes all the way back to the days of the 1900s when the progressives were out there fighting the big oil companies and the mergers of this company and that company. It's just something in their blood. It really is. With Elizabeth Warren's blood, it's that. It's not like Indian or Native American blood. It's antitrust blood. That's what's flowing through her veins. And Scott Besson talked about that today on Fox News. And this is what he had to say.
Sure, Maria. So this is just more of the mess we inherited from the Biden administration. In September 2022, Elizabeth Warren, who loves to write letters, sent a letter to the Justice Department, to the Transport Department, saying that they should oppose the merger with Spirit Airlines. JetBlue wanted to buy them for $3.8 billion. It would have given them much more resiliency. And she and the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, was probably the worst transportation secretary in history when he came to the office. They were against the merger. And if JetBlue had merged with Spirit, we would have all these jobs that were lost yesterday. We had 30 regional airports who have lost service. And I can tell you what happened here. It wasn't Treasury, it was Commerce that was trying to put something together. But the reason we were here was because the Biden administration opposed the merger. We shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Shouldn't have been here in the first place. They opposed the merger because their wackos opposed the merger. That's why. That's who the Democrats are. I mean, they just don't believe in this stuff. And that's the big story of the hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneri of Veneria Dental. 2 locations to serve you in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Great guy, great friend, and the undisputed master of dental implants. Why would they oppose it, though, other than pure philosophy? Well, it's very simple. If you don't like corporations, if you think corporations are evil, you don't want the corporations to become bigger. It's just simple math. If your whole model of us versus them, if the theme of today's show is it's us versus them, and why Spencer Pratt is doing so well is because he's tapping into us versus them, and he's pointing out that these elites in LA are destroying the city. On the left, the Democrats have been pointing out how the oligarchy has been destroying the American worker. Trump was able to point out how these dumb trade deals hurt the American worker, and he won the union jobs and he won the union vote. Politics is always an us versus them game. For the Democrats, the us versus them is corporations bad, so it's us versus them. And we don't want to make corporations bigger. That's what it comes down to. We don't want to make them bigger because if they're bigger, that's bad. Why? Who knows? Here's Mayor Pete announcing the Biden administration's decision to fight JetBlue's acquisition of Spirit Airlines.
Our department, the Department of Transportation, has generally not gotten involved in these merger cases, but that's changing today. It is so important to make sure that passengers have choices, that they have access to low fares, that they have access to competition, and yet we've seen less and less and less of that competition over the years. We are taking a step that, again, is unusual in terms of recent years, but we think is the right thing to do, supporting the DOJ's lawsuit and independently using our own authorities, which are a little bit different from the DOJ, starting our own investigation and taking other actions.
So you see, like what Robert Bork Jr. said as the president of the Antitrust Foundation, which is it's a great antitrust education project, it's going to be a bumpy ride here. Spirit's decline was accelerated by the Biden Justice Department's aggressive antitrust campaign against a proposed $3.8 billion acquisition by JetBlue. That deal would have allowed Spirit to scale, improve service, and compete more effectively against the dominant legacy carriers. But instead, they're gone. They're gone. They don't exist today. So you have one less airline, and JetBlue may not survive as a consequence of this too. You could potentially lose them as well. The only reason to be against this merger back then was purely philosophy. Why should companies be allowed to be bigger? Why should companies be allowed to make more money? Because these idiots don't understand that means more jobs and it means more options for consumers. It would have meant more flights, not less. Today, you have less flights in America. You have less airports. You have less planes taking off. You have not less airports, but less planes at those airports taking off. Even the presiding judge in the case with the case to merge the two, William Young, acknowledged the merger's benefits. The judge said this would bring needed competition to American, Delta, Southwest, and United. It would bring more competition to those big four airlines. I mean, for me personally, I fly American because I fly out of Philly, and it's usually the easiest and it's the most direct, but it's not the cheapest. So there's Spirit and Frontier and JetBlue, but they don't always have a lot of options in terms of flights. This would have given more flights for a bargain airline that would have competed against the four big boys who basically charge more, and then that would have benefited everybody. That would have benefited everybody. But the Democrats look at it like, oh, no, that just means everybody would charge more prices. Everybody would charge more fees and fares because they don't understand the basics of competition, which is in a marketplace, when you've got many competitors, you try to undercut your competitors by offering a cheaper price. It's not that hard, but that's why they hate capitalism. Spirit is too small, the judge wrote. But there are those who love it. To the dedicated customers of Spirit, this one's for you. That's what the judge said in the case. But the airline was denied the opportunity to evolve through a private sector solution. They were denied JetBlue's advantages and they collapsed. And now it's over. So we got to talk about potentially now a government takeover. There's nothing to take over. There's nothing to take over right now. It's done. It's over. They killed it. The Democrats killed it with their antitrust nonsense. They are the ones who did this. And you need to know that because you got to hold them accountable for this because Pete Buttigieg is going to run for president. Hell, Elizabeth Warren may run for president again. You also had you had Bernie Sanders out there opposing the merger between Spirit Airlines and JetBlue as well. Yeah, he was saying that. Now, which we had two, Jared, right? We had two Pete Buttigieg clips. We played one, right? So we have one more? Is that true?
Fox talking about it, and then there's his congressional testimony.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that one, please.
Well, if we want competition, then we have to have fidelity to our watchdog role when it comes to mergers. After all, by definition, a merger means that there will be fewer competitors than there were before the merger.
No,
it doesn't. I could not concur with the description of this as a novel regulatory.
Mr.
Yes.
Can I just ask a quick question? You're saying that we have four major carriers that represent 80% of the traffic, and adding another one would stop competition?
By definition, a merger doesn't add a company, it removes it.
By definition, a merger also gives the other four a competition that they don't have presently of 80%.
So
Correct.
our role is to make sure that there is more competition, not less, and we will only act to prevent a merger if there is a determination that a merger would harm competition.
Okay, so let me ask, so in other words, we have 4 major airlines representing 80% of the traffic, and you're saying another competition would be what? Would not be competition? I'm trying to understand the math, because
think of it in terms of
add another carrier, national carrier.
You're taking
Give more competition to the 4 that right now.
My point is taking 2 airlines and turning them into 1 could mean less competition.
We're talking about the smaller. How can they compete with the policies you're now looking at? How will you allow them to compete in this market in which 4 right now control it?
Well, part of what we're doing to support them is steps like this that police the trend toward consolidation, so that we don't end up with, by the end of this, we could be down to Coke and Pepsi. If all of the airlines merge, you could wind up with just 2. It's hard to picture that being a positive outcome for competition.
Okay, first of all, this isn't soda, and there are plenty of other choices besides Coke and Pepsi. Number 1. Number 2, he said the quiet part out loud there. We want to police this. We view this as our job is to police the private sector, and we as government, we decide how this should all play out. And Congressman Burgess Owens was saying there, but these are not national airlines. They're not as big as these others. They can't compete against them, you idiot. You're not letting them compete. By merging, Spirit and JetBlue would have been able to compete with United and American. They would have been able to be on a level playing field. Idiot. But they're not on a level playing field right now. It's like if tomorrow I start Richie's Airline Company and I've got 1 plane and then somebody offers to buy me out, and then now it's going to be, and you go, well, no, because there would be less options. I'm not competing now. I barely exist. But that's the other problem. Keep government the hell out of this stuff. But the Democrats believe that their job is to police the private sector. That's what they believe. We decide. We set policy. Look at Mamdani in New York. We got to have state-run grocery stores, even if it costs millions of dollars, and we got to find a way to subsidize the prices. We got to have free this and free that. And we, the government, will control the marketplace. And how does it work out for you? How does it work out for you, the consumer, when the government steps in and decides it's going to use the transportation secretary at the time's words, police. We have to police the private sector, police this sector, police all of this stuff. How does it work out for you? Here's Griff Jenkins breaking it down for you on Fox News. Congratulations.
Let's take a look back at that merger with JetBlue that could have saved Spirit Airlines. You go back to the merger. The merger itself was $1 billion per year in consumer savings, 10,000 new direct jobs by 2026, and 1,000 daily flights to 145 plus destinations. Remember, Spirit, along with JetBlue, are the low-cost airlines, not the big ones like American, United, Southwest, and Delta. So you look back in the history. So in 2023, Biden administration sued to block that nearly $4 billion merger. 2024, the federal judge blocked it. The Biden administration brought that lawsuit. It caused Spirit not once, but twice to file for bankruptcy in 2024, in 2025. Then, of course, what we saw play out yesterday, 277 flights canceled, boom, drop, 17,000 jobs. 17,000 workers are out of a job today, could push fares up by $100.
Yeah, nice job. Well done policing that. You did a hell of a job. Heck of a job policing that. And Jared, can I just say for the record, too, that, I was never a fan of these low-fare airlines. I didn't like all the upcharges. You're basically getting a chair, and then you'd have to pay for everything else. But at least it was another option for people. It wasn't a good option, but at least it was an option. It's gone.
I didn't know this until it closed down, that the genius of their business model is they would buy kind of like the day-old bread of airplanes, where the airplane has miles left on it, but Delta, United they don't fly that because they replace them sooner. So they would buy the used planes that were like, that's a really smart business model. I'm sad that a smart idea is gone. And can I say one other thing? Do you know what happened to Roomba? Why Roomba?
The vacuum.
Yes.
Yep.
Amazon wanted to buy them for more than $1 billion. Democrats freaked out. They were like, Amazon wants to map your house. They're going to take all the data from mapping your house. And the EU freaked out, and everyone was like, there's privacy concerns with Amazon knowing how your house is laid out. Amazon backed out of the deal. Roomba, bankrupt. Same.
Gone. I mean, why can't they just stay out of it and let the private sector just figure this stuff out on its own, all by themselves? I mean, I know this is a basic question, and I'm asking, it's kind of like asking, like, why is water wet? But why can't these Democrats just stay out of it? Seriously.
I mean, I got to appease a very passionate base.
I guess.
Got to throw some chum in the water, Rich.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, but don't a lot of those workers theoretically who are out of a job now that work for Spirit Airlines, wouldn't they be? I mean, some of them have to be Democrat voters, don't they?
And I think that a lot of people count on not remembering, and that's a thing that is harder to do now in today's age.
Oh yeah, so they'll just go, well, it happened during Trump, so it's Trump's fault that Spirit Airlines went under.
Yeah, it was the old thing,
yeah.
But that's tough to do anymore.
It's just amazing to me. And I feel bad for those workers, I do, but I also feel bad for those of us who want to fly our families on vacation, because between Iran and this, prices for flights are going to go up. No doubt about that. That is definitely going to happen. So you got to find ways to save money, and everywhere you can, you got to do it. So that's why I want you to reach out to my friends at Emmons Roofing and Siding, because they are terrific and they'll take great care of your home, and they will have incredible competitive pricing on everything. You can't mess around if you got to replace your roof, if you got to replace your windows, your siding, your doors, whatever it is, you got to do it, right? I mean, and my friend Matt Kelly, who's the owner of Emmons, always says this. He says, the most expensive project is the one you do twice. That's the most expensive project. So what you should do is reach out to Emmons today. If you would like to have your bathroom remodeled, they just remodeled our bathroom, did a fantastic job. I mean, beautiful. We had the kids in there last night for a bath. We brought Gary in and dropped him in the tub, and I'm sure he loved that. It was a fun family night. But as I'm looking around, I'm like, this bathroom is absolutely gorgeous, because every detail they took seriously, from the tile they picked out to the window to the fixtures, and they'll help you design all of that. So all you need to do is just go to emmonsroofing.com. You will get great treatment if you tell them I sent you, and they serve the whole region of this area. And also, in addition to that, it's American-made products. You know, when you're dealing with American-made shingles for that roof, if you're dealing with American-made windows and doors and siding, there's a pride and a sense of knowing you're getting the best from the best, and a company that I've used in 2 different homes for 12 years in a row. So please reach out to them today. Go to emmonsroofing.com, EMMONS, emmonsroofing.com. Tell them I sent you, okay? Now, as we go further along the line of crazy in the Democrat Party, we get into a guy named Graham Plattner. Now, at one point, I was told Nazi tattoos were bad, but now they're okay. Now they're fine. They're fine. I mean, you know, at one point an SS tattoo was like now it's like, I mean, who doesn't get drunk and get an SS tattoo? So Graham Plattner, who was running for the United States Senate in against Susan Collins in Maine, had this tattoo. I went through this on Friday's show, so I'm not gonna spend too much time revisiting it. But here's the kind of short answer on this. Andrew Kaczynski from the K-File unearthed the fact that Plattner knew exactly that it was an SS tattoo. That's why he had it covered up, and he's lying about it now. And he also said, women, if you don't want to get raped, maybe don't drink so much. And he also talked about black people not being able to read. And he had a whole bunch of other things to say, but he's a socialist. And he said that. He's a socialist, and we need to have a revolution. And now he's the Democrat. He's going to be the Democrat nominee for the United States Senate in Maine to take on Susan Collins. So everything, praising Hamas, and it doesn't matter. He's theirs. He's their guy now. You have a Nazi tattoo? You have a Nazi tattoo. It's all right. No big whoop. It happens. So here's Bernie Sanders. He likes him. He really does.
I like Graham Plattner. You like Graham Plattner. The big money interests do not like Graham.
Actually, at one point, Democrats didn't like Graham Plattner because of the fact that he had this Nazi tattoo and said these horrible things about women and said these horrible things about black people and said horrible things about everything. But he's a socialist. And socialism is all the rage right now. And if you got Bernie's blessing, if you got AOC's blessing, if you've got America's mother-in-law's blessing, Elizabeth Warren, you're going to be just fine. Graham Plattner is going to wind up winning. Now, can he beat Susan Collins in Maine? It's very possible. Look, it's very possible that he's going to wind up winning because that's where the power and the momentum and the energy is. It's on the left right now. It's not in the moderate lane. If Bernie likes you, that means Bernie's going to draw crowds to you, and Bernie's going to draw a lot of small donors to you too. The power of the Fight the Oligarchy tour, when he's yelling about, I like Graham Plattner, is the power of people writing $25 checks. And this guy Plattner has now raised a boatload of cash. Janet Mills, who was the governor of Maine, who dropped out of the race, went after him about the fact that he said, if women don't want to get raped, maybe they shouldn't drink so much. Now, she's going to be on board too. And all those people that were against him, they'll be on board too. And all the people that went after Pete Hegseth, who doesn't have a Nazi tattoo, but has a tattoo that's a cross, and all the people that went after him, they'll be fine with Graham Plattner, even though his tattoo actually is an SS tattoo, and he told people that, and that's what Andrew Kaczynski from the K-File talked about. He said that Plattner was out there telling people that this tattoo of this SS unit was a very common thing for people in the military to get. So he knew what he was getting, and he knew what he was doing. And I thought they were bad, but they're not bad anymore. Because once you become one of them, then everything is fine. That's how it goes. And the question is just going to be, does he win or not? Now, according to Mark Halperin, the political analyst, and I guess it was Larry O'Connor who talked about this, Mark Halperin was on with Larry O'Connor and said that the National Republican Senatorial Committee has so much opposition research on Plattner. And when this comes out, it's not just a matter of him dropping out of the race. Take a listen.
Clean, even if the establishment helps him.
Wait, his brand will stay clean? Oh, you mean his brand of being a populist and
an outsider?
People?
Yeah,
because there's nothing clean about his brand.
Yeah, his brand is terms of being an outsider and not beholden to
no, absolutely not.
He
won't have any problem taking that money, and I think the establishment won't have any problem giving him that money. This is a bad man. I'm sorry, I hate to put it in those perspectives, but I have learned, and it's not just I've heard, I know things about this person that will come out. The RNC is not joking about this. And frankly, it goes beyond the Nazi tattoo. This is an indictment, frankly, of where Democrats are right now when this populist radical base gets energized. And it's a real problem that the Democrats need to face. And I think he made a strategic error there in that hit. He said the only thing that, nothing coalesces Democrats together like defeating Susan Collins. Why didn't he say about defeating Donald Trump, about pushing back on MAGA, about why did he make it about Susan Collins? Because say what you will, I think she's still pretty popular there.
Now, the reason for that is because they have to find a way to forgive Graham Plattner for everything he's done. So they asked one of the guys from the Midas Touch, which is a very popular lefty podcast, and they're like, how is it you guys can back this guy? And they said, because we are united around stopping Trump. And it was on CNN, and Geraldo Rivera's like, so you're justifying all this because of your united opposition against Trump? You'll forget all these things about this guy. The tattoo, the comments about women, the comments about black people, you'll forget all this stuff. The fact that he called himself a hippie socialist and wants to take over America, a communist and have a revolution. Like, you'll forget all that stuff because you want to stop Trump. And to prove that point, Frank Bruni from the New York Times wrote a piece and said, Graham Plattner isn't my ideal Senate candidate, not even close. I'm deeply troubled by his thinness of his political experience, by the primacy of raw anger in his appeal to voters, and by the oddities and ugliness from a Nazi tattoo to a fondness for gay and gayest as put-downs in his not-so-distant past. It's a lot to overlook. But if I live in Maine, I'd vote for him in November. I'd do it without any joy and without any hesitation because he's a Democrat running against a Republican, and I haven't been kidding around when I've said that President Trump has no respect for democracy, no regard for the truth, no patience for Americans who don't bow to him, and no limits to his desire to exploit the presidency for his and his minions' glorification and enrichment. I can't recognize the profound moral offense and extreme danger of Trump, Bruni writes, and then sit out the election or cast a vote that potentially helps his party, which has abetted or ignored his authoritarian designs, win either chamber of commerce. I can't let his party win either chamber of commerce. That would be irresponsible, nonsensical, and perilous. So even though we all agree Nazi tattoos are bad, even though we all agree that saying things like, hey, lady, you don't want to get raped? Don't drink so much. Even though we Democrats said you shouldn't you shouldn't use gay as a pejorative. Like, it doesn't matter. You get the nomination. The only goal is stopping Trump. That's it. Then you're on the team and everything's forgiven. Then they like you. And you might argue that that happens with both parties, but actually you have an entire Never Trump movement out there. If you haven't checked, it's not very effective. But there's an entire Never Trump movement of Republicans and conservatives that will not support President Trump. They'll sit out the election, they'll vote third party or whatever. Or if they're going to do it, if they are going to end up voting for him, they will make it a point of saying, I am specifically doing this because I'm stopping the opponent. And then they will, without question, they will fall on their sword of hypocrisy and say, yep, I'm a total hypocrite here. I am the worst kind of hypocrite. And they'll do it. So yeah, do both sides do that? Of course they do. The difference here, though, with Graham Plattner is that this is a guy who should be everything the Democrats reject, but stopping Trump is the goal more than anything. But there's another added layer to it. And it's the added layer that pushes even the beyond the Never Trump thing. Like, for example, a Never Trumper might vote for Trump to stop Kamala Harris because he thinks Kamala Harris will be worse for the country than Donald Trump. Okay? So you remember what I said earlier in the show about how you vote for somebody or you vote against somebody. There's another subtext here that isn't being talked about so loudly. So I want to make sure it's perfectly understood. The other reason why they'll embrace Graham Plattner is not just to stop Donald Trump. It's because they want socialists in Congress. Frank Bruni wants a socialist in Congress. These Democrats, Bernie Sanders and these others, they want socialism. They want communists. They don't want mainstream Democrats in there. Even though Susan Collins is as rhino as you get, and Susan Collins is probably, of all the Republicans in there besides Lisa Murkowski, the one who would play ball with Democrats more than anyone, and would probably also stop Donald Trump on most things that Democrats agree with. It's not enough because she's not a socialist. So while the Never Trumpers might hold their nose and vote for Trump because they want to stop Kamala Harris, these people who were against Plattner or Democrats who should be against Plattner and should be going with the most moderate mainstream Republican in the country, a person who honestly I really can't stand because I think Susan Collins is she's not my kind of Republican. I'm sorry, she's not. She, in my mind, is part of the problem with the Republican Party today. But instead of Democrats embracing that kind of Republican and then turning around and saying, hey, you want purple? You want bipartisanship? Well, if we have more Democrats like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, which, by the way, they've said over the years, they've said that, give us more Susan Collins and we'll rally around them. But times have changed. A, they have to stop Trump. But B, actually, what they want is they want more socialists in power. The dirty little secret of why they're rallying around Graham Plattner, it's not about stopping Trump. This isn't going after this isn't like going after Lindsey Graham. I mean, this isn't, a guy who's emboldening Trump at every step. going after, Ron Johnson, a hardcore conservative. Lindsey Graham and bowling Trump around Iran. I mean, obviously, Lindsey Graham is not a hardcore conservative. You understand my point. But no, this is about embracing a socialist because they'll have more wins in the socialist column. This is not as simple as holding your nose. Holding your nose against Susan Collins? Like, to Larry O'Connor's point, the point that Larry was making is, well, but Susan Collins, they like Susan Collins. She's kind of popular. Part of the reason why she's popular, she stands up to Trump a lot. She votes against Trump. She's against the war. She's for stopping Trump on the war power stuff. She joins Rand Paul on a lot of things in stopping Trump. Tom Massey and stopping Trump. I mean, she's that kind of a Republican. Ideally, the kind that Democrats should rally around and say, give us more of our Susan Collins and we'll be with you. But they want a win in the column for socialism. They want a notch for another commie. They'll get New York. They've got that Democrat in New Jersey who just won. Another Democrat in New Jersey who's an outright communist who's going to win. This is the movement of Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker's all for this guy. This guy is anti-Israel, calls Israel genocide. They want that. This guy's, pro-Hamas. They want that. That's what they want. It's not just simply a matter of holding their nose and voting for whoever the Democrat candidate is. No. They're deep down excited that they may have another socialist communist in their ranks. That's why Bernie's out there rallying for this guy. So it's not just even a matter of all is forgiven because it's our nominee. We get the chance to have another communist socialist in power. It's another blow to the Democrat moderate establishment. It's another death knell to Chuck Schumer. It's another death knell to the people in the Democrat Party who are the ones that keep putting up these so-called mainstream candidates like Janet Mills, who's a pretty mainstream candidate. The era of mainstream candidates is over in the Democrat Party. It's over. Hell yeah, they'll overlook a Nazi tattoo, and I think they'll overlook anything else for that matter, if it means getting a socialist in there. Think of all the stuff they had to overlook with Mamdani. It doesn't matter. That's what it's about. All right, Dr. Mike Veneria is my friend and my dentist, and he will give you the beautiful smile you deserve. Go see him today. 12 years in a row, 12 consecutive years, Dr. Mike Veneria has been giving people a beautiful smile, and other dentists have sent their patients to Dr. Mike for the really complex stuff. I'm talking about things like dental implants and giving people brand new, beautiful smiles and all the things that you would want and all the beautiful results that you deserve. That's what you get with my buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria. Plus, everybody who works in his office is wonderful. It's about care. It's about compassion, great music playing in the office, people who will take tremendous care of you every step of the way. So please reach out to him today by going to veneriadental.com. Hey, if I'm another dentist and I send my patients to Dr. Mike and those results come back good, I keep doing it year after year after year, you know that Dr. Mike's doing something right. He gave Bridget a beautiful smile upgrade last year. And yes, Mama Zeoli first discovered him for our family. So I'm very happy to call him my friend and my dentist and the official dentist of the Zeoli family. Please reach out to him for your free implant consultation today at veneriadental.com, VANARIA, veneriadental.com. Now, Jared, I had a conversation with our mutual friend, Dr. Maz, yesterday, and he is going to reach out to you about a couple of things, one of them being your Plex account, just so you know. Heads up.
Yeah,
okay.
He's looking for something, and it's not there yet. So you can calm down. It'll get there.
All right. Second thing is, as a doctor, I asked him to prescribe me dyslexia medication for my dyscalculia. Do you know what he told me? There's no such thing.
Okay.
Apparently.
As medicine, not as dyscalculia.
Right. Like I don't think there's an actual medicine for it.
Okay.
There's no medicine that makes you stop reversing numbers. I don't think so. Have you heard of one?
No, but I don't. Not on my Google alerts. So
no. You haven't been reading your latest issue of JAMA?
No. I don't recall it in there.
See, I'm curious, Jared, because it seems like Governor Gavin Newsom was on his dyslexia medication the other night. And this tweet, which has resurfaced, it's from 2024, and it's making the rounds again. It's funny how the internet does that, how these things kind of resurface. But I guess it's because he's getting all this attention now going on Bill Maher. And I'm just wondering, do you think it was a lot of, you drink Red Bull. You think it's a lot of Red Bull? What do you think? What's your gut tell you?
So I will say that ADHD meds, they're different if you crush them up and snort them, I think. And I'm not sure that that's the right way to do that.
Yeah. Like if you follow the way the doctor tells you to take the ADHD medication.
When they give you the pill, it's supposed to stay the pill.
Right.
It's not a task that comes with the pill.
But if you chop it up and snort it,
it's gonna be a good time. Good time, Charlie, there.
Why do you think this clip is getting so much traction again, since it's from 2024? Is it just because Gavin's everywhere these days? Is it just that?
I think that the like Gavin is kind of like frenetic is becoming a thing, and so people are going back and unearthing more of these clips. Also, remember they used to slow down George W. Bush, and he would sound like anybody sounds like they're drunk if you slow him down.
Yeah.
The thing is, people keep playing it without audio, and he looks insane. Like he's
like if you were to watch it, as some people do, they watch the show with the captions on.
Yep.
And if you just see him like that.
Yeah, and I think that they're going back and finding some of the craziest those moments. Yeah.
So a lot more of that theoretically is going to resurface as he gets ready to run for president, I would think, right?
Get on camera a lot, that guy.
Well, if it's not him, it's Jenny.
There's a lot of B-roll to sift through from the the Gavin family. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at this resurfaced clip of Gavin Newsom
right now.
I feel strange. It's interesting. I've been on a journey like most people, feeling great, feeling stressed, feeling doubtful. The last 2 days, I don't know what it is. I think it's
wax
maybe
on,
the dust
wax
settling
off,
after
Jared.
Madison Square Garden. Seen how that went, like kind of a roller coaster. But something's happened the last few days, and I'm telling you that Des Moines Register.
Is he doing sign language?
I mean, I don't know. I don't expect Iowa necessarily going in the blue column, but it says something to me.
Maybe he's his own sign language interpreter.
Potentially, in terms of the outcome of this race. So I'm feeling, honestly, much better than I was even 24 hours ago. The last few days.
What do you think it's saying?
I think the biggest challenge for, if I was Trump, the reason I wouldn't want to be Trump right now is, since Dobbs, we've outperformed in every election.
All right, so Jared, in analyzing that clip, it's very obvious to me. I think he's trying to culturally appropriate Italian people. That's my takeaway.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, as an Italian, I'm offended right now that he's using his hands so much to talk. Because as they always say, if you want to mute an Italian, you tie his hands up,
I've never heard that, but I like it.
So
look at that. It's like he looks like he's shadow boxing. Like he's training training in the ring, dancing around Muhammad Ali, like getting ready before a fight. Like, okay, like pumping himself up for it.
Like if we put that to I don't know, like Real American or something, and he's out there, I am a real American. Like that would probably work for him.
Stance, it's a lot of nervous energy, if true.
I mean, he's just, and then he touches his nose. Did you notice that? Did you catch that?
Oh, that's not, but the Adderall goes here, so that'd be.
Oh, you don't snort it through your nose?
I mean, again, not supposed to.
I
don't think.
I did notice at one point he did a little that, like he had a booger, like he did a little,
Probably had a boogie.
Yep. Yeah. Wasn't like anything went up the nose. I'm not suggesting anything went up the nose. I'm suggesting that maybe something had to come out of the nose.
Well, we'll go up the nose. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't even. I have no idea. So,
That's just regular nervous energy, Rich. It's just like the rest of us.
That's all that is, Jared. Just nervous energy. It's just a little, don't go see Devil Wears Prada 2, by the way, buddy.
So I saw a review that said it more like The Devil Wears Zara. And that was all I needed to know that that's something I will.
What does that mean?
Zara is a discount luxury brand available. So instead of Devil Wears Prada, it was Devil Wears Zara. And Rich, it's so weird that a Hollywood half-baked sequel didn't turn out so well while the celebrity showed up 20 years later. That's I am shocked to learn this.
Now, Anne Hathaway, who I think is beautiful, and she was amazing as Catwoman, she has resting paycheck face the entire time.
Yes.
Like she's just, Stanley Tucci has resting paycheck face too. I mean, so does Meryl Streep. They all do. Like they're literally just doing this for the money. There's no doubt about it.
There was a famous Harrison Ford quote, and they were like, "Don't you feel stupid doing all this Greenstein stuff?" He was like, "That's what the money's for." And like, that's sure they all exude that the whole time. Just doing this for the check, doing this for the cash.
Yep. That's it. I mean, there's a moment where Anne Hathaway is strutting through New York City looking very confident. And I turned to my wife and I said, she's not acting in this moment right now. Like she's just knowing she's going right to the bank with this movie. And that's what that is.
I bet she knew how many minutes she had to work per dollar. And like there's another 30K in my account. Rack them up.
And now we got to deal with another Star Wars movie coming out, The Mandalorian and Grogu. What do you say? How do you say it?
It's terrible, bro. Looks terrible. They're bankrupt. They're just phoning it in. It's awful. It's awful.
The Supergirl movie looks terrible. I'm sorry, it does.
Disagree. I'm gonna go see that.
Oh, I'll see it, and she's cute, but it just looks again just like more over the top, like just so over the top. And I know another Spider-Man movie coming out, and we have another Avengers movie coming out the end of this year,
which is going to be good. But the problem is that like when they made the Avengers, they wrote this, they had a plan over 10 years to make this work, and now everyone's hey, we had a successful movie, churn out another one, kids. Superman was great.
Yeah,
make Supergirl. Let's go. That's not.
There's another Toy Story movie coming out. Are you kind of getting the idea that maybe original ideas are not welcome anymore? Like it's got to be already tested.
Maybe, yes. That they want to make bank. That's all they care about. And known properties help them make more cash.
And so they go, we'll do a new Toy Story movie, and they call up Tom Hanks and they're like, hey, want to do Toy Story? He's like, nah, I don't need. How's $40 million? I guess I can make it. I could find an hour to record.
Absolutely. He's got time.
Because he doesn't even have to be in the movie. It's literally just a voiceover.
I don't want to just downplay it. It's work for him, but it's not. No.
Right. I'm not.
Paycheck. Yes. It's a paycheck.
Would never take away the people that do voice work.
Yes.
It's good work. If you can get it, especially if you can get it at that pay scale.
Contact the Zeoli show. There's two different people that would definitely do a little Toy Story voiceover right here.
That's right. Sign us up. Happy to help. We're happy to do our part. Well, thank you for listening to the show. We appreciate it. And please hit that subscribe button and please help us find some voiceover work. We would appreciate it very, very much. In the meantime, come back tomorrow and tell your friends and enemies and like the show, hit subscribe, and thank you for listening.
Let's go.